And good evening and welcome to another edition of The Way I See It. I am Ralph Williams. It's great to be here. It's Monday night and it's a few days before Thanksgiving. We have a lot to talk about tonight. I got to tell you, this is going to be one heck of a show because we just have so much to talk about tonight, leading you up into your Thanksgiving meal and also your vacation if that's what your plans are. Are you going on vacation this year? We'll talk later on about that as well. I have some more news for you in regards to my series on labor and industry and laziness and things like that. As you know, I've been doing a series on that as of late because of, my attack on the lazy people. But I come to find out that that's not always the case. But I have some more news for you as well, as far as what's going on in my series on that. And I'm going to be probably doing that all the way up till the end of the year. All right, tonight's Chinese wisdom. If you live out your imagination, you live out your potential. Oh, yes, that's tonight's Chinese wisdom. All right, tonight's blast is brought to you in part by the book from Claudia Rosano called Lead from the Heart Up, Not the Neck Up. Here it is right here. Get it today on Amazon and on Claudia Rosano's publishing company, which is John Nelson Publishing. Get it today. I'll tell you what, this is one great book. I have it, as you see right here, Lead from the Heart Up, Not the Neck Up, with Claudia Rosano. He is tonight's sponsor for our blast segment tonight. All right. Let's talk about Beaver Falls, the vandals. And you know what? I have a problem with this. I have a problem when people destroy stuff that involves Christmas. I have a problem when it involves a charity. This guy who sets up his Christmas stuff in Beaver Falls, he sets it up to help charity. And some knuckleheads or head or whoever decided that they're going to go and they're going to cut the wires on this guy's light up display. All right, and one thing I cannot tolerate is when somebody does something like that. That's why I'm blasting you tonight. Whoever you are, if you're out there watching this program, or if you know the person who did it, and they're out there watching this program, you tell them I'm blasting them tonight because they should have never cut the wires on this guy's lights who's supporting charity. In Beaver Falls, he's done it every year for the last 20 years, him and his wife. And now they had to repatch the wires, or they had to go get new wires. And there's a GoFundMe page to help this guy. So you know what? Those of you who did that, if you think it's funny, it's not funny at all. If you're the person who did this, it's not a funny joke. None whatsoever. Because I tell you what, I don't appreciate it, and I'm sure no one else does out there either, or anyone watching this program tonight. And that is the way I see it. Next, Elon Musk at it again. He's laying off more employees at Twitter. He's trying to fix Twitter up. He's making it into some kind of a stupid thing. I don't know what he's doing with it, but I got to tell you, it's devastating. He's laid off all these employees who have worked there for many years and have done a lot for Twitter, and he decides he's going to lay them off now, and he's going to change the platform of everything, and pretty soon you're not going to see Twitter, and that's why I'm blasting Elon Musk tonight, and that is the way I see it. Next, PCTV Channel 21, this coming past Tuesday, which I'll talk about on my life story. I had another meeting with PCTV. Now, I grant you, I know I put this program, which is on tonight at 8 o'clock, on PCTV. What I'm upset about is they are continuing their efforts to throw the weight of the station on the community producers. You know what? That's not fair. And not only is that not fair, PCTV, that is not right at all. And you shouldn't do it, and it's not right. And I think that you need to be blasted tonight for this. You're trying to put all this on the community producers. And a lot of the community producers who do shows, like myself, who do shows on PCTV, Channel 21, Comcast, 47 Verizon Cable, and I know the situation with public access TV. We'll talk about that later on as well, right here on The Way I See It. And that tonight is the way I see it. Next, Starbucks coffee. Shame on you, Starbucks. You do not want to let your employees have a union. So they had a walkout the other day, a walkout last week, all right? And it hurt business. for Starbucks. And then you got these people, oh, I can't get my coffee, and they're harassing the people who walk. Where is the satisfaction for the American worker? You're so worried about your damn coffee that you decided you're going to hassle the employees at the one out in Hampton. You decided you were going to harass those employees, get angry with them, because you can't get your Starbucks coffee. No, you know what? Go somewhere else, get a cup of coffee for that day, okay? Because I'm going to tell you this right now, Starbucks is going to lose business. It's not the employees' fault. As I said last show, it's the fact that the employers now are treating these employees like dirt, like garbage, and they think they can get away with it. That's not happening no more. The union revolution is coming back. And we'll talk more about that later on as well. Starbucks, that's why I'm blasting you tonight. Next, Ticketmaster. You know what, Ticketmaster? You know what? I'm not a fan of Taylor Swift. I don't hate Taylor Swift. I don't say her music is bad. I've worked a couple of her concerts here in Pittsburgh when I used to work security down at the old Heinz Field, which is now Acrisure Stadium. For some of you that still haven't come out from under a rock, okay? But anyway, Ticketmaster decided to have a pre-sale last week. And the pre-sale didn't work out right. And they overloaded the phone lines, or they overloaded the computer. And now Ticketmaster can't figure out what to do to solve the problem. So I want to say salute to Josh Shapiro, our former, well, he's still doing his job as the Attorney General until January when he gets sworn in as our new governor. I want to say good for you, Josh Shapiro, because he's stepping up. And he's saying that he's stepping up because he's had enough of this stuff with Ticketmaster. You know what? Deceiving the public like that, that's wrong. I think something needs to be done about this, and I'm glad that Taylor Swift has gotten away from Ticketmaster. I'm blasting you tonight because that's one of the reasons why I don't go to a show, because sometimes I can't get tickets from Ticketmaster for handicap accessibility. I waited on hold one time for 2 hours to get through to get a ticket, and it wasn't even a great ticket either. And that was to go to a concert, and this was before the pandemic, and that is the way I see it tonight. Next, I want to blast this guy for stealing from the Jewish community. How dare you? Shame on you. That's right. I'm blasting you tonight. And I know you're probably not watching this because you're in the Allegheny County Jail. And I'm glad. You know why? Because you stole a bunch of money from the Jewish people. The Jewish Federation you stole money from. Elderly people who need this money, who were supposed to have this money, and you went ahead and took it. Shame on you. This is sad. I'm blasting you tonight. That is the way I see it tonight. All right, our blast segment tonight was brought to you by Claudio Rosano in his book, Lead from the Heart Up, Not the Neck Up. It'll help you in business and in pro sports if you're a coach. I got to tell you, Claudio's been on a lot of talk shows. He's been on several of my podcasts. He's been on my shows on PCTV. He's on the Boxing Authority, Steel City Sports World on PCTV and on Channel Box, where the Boxing Authority's big boxing show with him, Luther Dupree, Smoking Jim Frazier. Here's his book. Get it from Amazon or get it from his publishing company, John Nelson Publications, and get it today. Lead from the Heart Up, Not the Neck Up with Claudio Rosano. I'll tell you what, it's a great book. I have it myself, as you see right here, and I would love for you to go get that book. So that's tonight's blast sponsor for tonight. Next, our Bonehead segment brought to you by Robin Campbell Insurance. Call Robin Campbell today at 412-366-3399. Robin Campbell. He is an insurance agent with Farmers Insurance. And let me tell you what about Robin. Robin puts a personal touch into your insurance, no matter what kind of insurance it is. My suggestion to you, if you're someone who rents, okay, if you rent an apartment, a house, or anything, I don't care if it's with an agency, do not trust them, okay? If a fire happens there, do not trust them. All right, go out and get renter's insurance. Let me tell you this. Renter's insurance costs less than a cup of coffee a day. That's probably maybe about $1 or $2. So you're looking at maybe anywhere from $20 to maybe not even $30 a month. Not even that. It's even lower than $20 in some cases. Okay, so give Robin a call today, 412-366-3399. He has all kinds of insurance with Farmers Insurance. Call Robin today. He'll even come to your house. He'll sit down with you. He's honest about how he does his things with his insurance, and he will not rip you off. All right. Tonight's bonehead, the guy who sold drugs out of the Monroeville Philly pretzel drive-thru. Wow, what a knucklehead this guy is. Oh boy. Well, you know what? He's in jail. He got busted, and that's sad. Next, the Parks Casino in Bucks County getting fined $10,000. Guess for what? Letting underage people into the casino. Next, the guy who got caught selling drugs out of a cricket store. Well, you know what? I just sort of, that's terrible. Use a cricket store to sell drugs out of, just like some of the ones who sold drugs out of the pretzel store. This is ridiculous out here today with all these people selling drugs out of these businesses. And it's terrible out there. But don't forget to call Robin Campbell Insurance, the sponsor of tonight's Boneheaded segment. 412-366-3399. Coming up is our My Life Story, and that's brought to you by another sponsor of ours, DJ Fun. Call DJ Fun today. DJ Fun this past Saturday was in South Park, and he was DJing a party. And DJ Fun told me to tell you that if you call him today, he will charge you for next year. You book an event for next year, he will charge you this year's rates. Because next year, his rates are going up. So he will charge you this year's rates if you call him today. 412-545-4317. Call DJ Fun today for if you need a party, wedding, or special event DJ. He's your man. Give him a call today. All right, like My Life Story today. Good news is I took my wife again for another appointment with the foot doctor out there in Penn Hills, and we stopped at that deadbeat Giant Eagle in Rhode Island Road after she was done with her appointment. The good news is her toe surgery has progressed, and she is able to actually get up and had permission to go to church on Sunday, which was great because it was able for myself and my mom and her and my wife to go to church together as we normally do, and it was great on Sunday to see her walking around a little bit more and going to church. So that was a great thing as well. But then, on top of all that, we went to that, like I said, I call it the deadbeat Giant Eagle. That Giant Eagle is so old there on Rhode Island Road in Penn Hills. Giant Eagle needs to step in and do something. It must be privately owned. I don't know. But all I know is that it's very old. It still has the door that goes forward instead of the sliding doors. And sometimes that door gets stuck if I'm trying or we're trying to get in with a scooter. It's very difficult to do. And, I think Giant Eagle really needs to upgrade that, or the owner needs to put some money into it or something, because that Giant Eagle, man, whoa, that is not the best place to shop. And the employees, some of them are rude. My mother asked for some help, couldn't get any, and so here we are. This is why we're where we are today, because of this kind of stuff. And from what my wife, being a former Giant Eagle employee for 32 years, she told me some of the stuff that Giant Eagle does, and it'll knock your socks off if you heard what I have to tell you about what goes on at Giant Eagle. We'd be here all night. Okay, she told me some of the stuff that they do and their management stuff. Their union is weak, and it's crazy out there. It really is with this stuff with some of these companies. But there we are. There Saturday. I had the privilege of watching the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction ceremony on HBO, and I got to tell you, it was great as always. The inductees were Dolly Parton, Carly Simon, Lionel Richie, Judas Priest, Sylvia Robinson, Jimmy Iovine, Harry Belafonte, Elizabeth Cotton, Alan Grubman, Duran Duran. Wow. Duran Duran. I grew up with Duran Duran. Pat Benatar and Neil Girardi. I'll tell you what, there's another one right there. I was sitting there, and my wife and I were sitting here watching this, and I says, you know what? Some of these people should have already been in the Hall of Fame. And I don't know how the voting goes. I don't know what goes on with that. But I will tell you that, I had the privilege of watching it, and it was great. Eurythmics, Eminem, Jimmy Jam, and Terry Lewis. So there you are. That's my life story pretty much. But I have one thing I wanted to add was took a trip out to Oakmont Bakery today. I had to get some last minute things for Thanksgiving. All right. Pull into the parking lot, and their parking lot's very small, and they have an auxiliary parking lot, which is about a block or more and a half down the road. Okay. So pull in there, and I get in there, and what really bothers me is when you need a parking spot, these people take 5 years to get out of the parking spot. Okay? They get in their car, they're fumbling with their phone, they can't find their keys, they take 5 years to put their groceries in the car, and they see you sitting there, and they just take their good old sweet time. Then it takes them another 5 years to back. So by that time, we're 10 years into this. Do you understand what I'm saying? Okay? We are 10 years into this. And what I mean by that is we're an exuberant amount of time in this. Then I got somebody behind me beeping the horn. All right? And I'm like, well, you don't see I'm trying to wait for a parking spot? And you think that person would pull out and go down the street and park down there? No. Okay? Not at all. All right? Then the lady that we pull up, and the lady's sitting in a car. She sees me pull into the spot, and I couldn't get a handicap spot, by the way. Okay? I have yet to go into Oakmont Bakery because I can never get a handicap spot. All right? So anyway, pull in there into the spot, and this lady's sitting in the car next to us, and it's real close because the way she parked her car was close to ours. Okay? So here we are. We can't get out. And then my mom gets out of the back seat, or the back seat area with the back door open, and almost hits the car a little there, touches it a little bit. She starts flipping out. Well, you saw that we were parking here. You're sitting in the car. And the way you parked your car, we can't get out. So, well, what are we supposed to do? Sit there like you for 5 years? No. We have to get out of the car. I have things to do. I don't have time to be sitting there all day like you do, lady. So the lady finally backs the vehicle up. Okay? And then takes 5 years to back the vehicle up. It was the week of everybody 5 years. Nobody does, and nobody wants to move, but I'll tell you what people will do. They will cut in front of you inside the Liberty Tunnel. And if you think you're going to do it again, not going to happen, because I'm doing it. You know what I'm doing? I'm getting in touch with the city and the state, and I'm going to make sure they put cameras in there and bust you for speeding and also for sliding over and cutting in front of somebody. When you get a ticket in the mail, don't say I told you so. So go ahead and do it again when I'm out. Go ahead and do it again. It's the way I see it tonight about my life story. All right, key topics tonight. I told you I had some news for you in regards to my series on the job situation and the labor workforce and some things like that. I found out hotels are having issues trying to get employees. So the travel industry now, when you book your hotel, and I was a victim of this when I went to Sugar Creek. Remember when I broadcasted live from Sugar Creek? Yeah. Well, when I was in Sugar Creek, Ohio, in September, we couldn't get room service at the hotel we were at, although it advertised room service. You want to know why? They didn't have enough help. Housekeeping. Good luck with that. You get housekeeping when you first get there, and then if you want housekeeping, like if you want sheets or pillows or if you need more towels, you call them up and they'll bring them to you. But they won't clean your room every day. They won't clean it until you leave. And I'm hearing that this has been like this since COVID. Okay? And it's getting worse because now the travel with the holiday season coming up, there's going to be a lot of people traveling for God knows why. Okay? All right? They said this season is going to be the busiest travel season in the history of this country. Wow. I'm staying right here. I'm enjoying my Thanksgiving right here in my own comfy of my own apartment. And you know what's interesting? I like it. Why would I want to go out there and all that hassle and crowd? And you want to know something else? Speaking of where we're talking about travel, I was watching the nightly news this past week, and they did a segment on the airlines and how they abuse handicapped people. Me. Why? Well, in 2019, my aunt died. She lives in Raleigh, North Carolina. My family and I had to go down and deal with her estate. Okay? I booked the tickets. I got everything I needed. My mom, my sister, and we had to sit in separate spots. They didn't have seats for us together. All right? Then I also paid for the tickets going down and the tickets coming back. So it came with the deal. I had to change it twice. Because we were thinking we were only going to be down there a week. We were there for 3 weeks. I've never done anything like this, so I don't know what was going on at the time. I got treated like trash. I went in through TSA. And after that experience then, and the experience I had before COVID, because I had to go down there with the lawyer to sign paperwork. Okay? And I happen to like Raleigh, believe it or not. It's a very nice place. I wouldn't mind moving out there in the future. Okay? It's a beautiful city, Raleigh, North Carolina. The surrounding area is nice. People know how to drive. They move around nice. They're nice people. Okay? Not like this town. All right? So, getting back to this, okay? TSA, at the time I used to have to wear knee braces. At times I do wear knee braces. But I don't wear them as consistent as I did then. They took a rod, a wooden stick, and stuck it up my knee braces and kept hitting the bone of my knee. I told them I was in pain. They didn't care. Didn't care at all. Then, okay, they made me get out of my wheelchair, which I have troubles walking to begin with. All right? They made me get out of my wheelchair and go into this tube that spins around and whatever. Okay? And then you get on the airplane. And you're stuffed, and you have to walk in because there's no room for you to get in with a wheelchair. You have to walk in. I had to walk in, walk all the way back to my seat. Then I'm stuffed well, fortunately, it was one of them smaller planes where they have the Bar Raider or whatever it's called, that type of airplane where they have 2 seats, and it was a smaller type of plane. All right. So naturally, I was assigned with someone, and I was able to talk them into moving so that my mom could sit with me. My sister, on the other hand, she enjoyed sitting in the back. It was her first time flying. She wasn't sure what to do, so she enjoyed sitting in the far back and being left alone. All right? So I'm stuffed in this seat, which is overbearing, and now I hear they're charging. I don't know. I haven't flown since 2020. So I don't know. But I'm hearing stories now that they're starting to charge for if you weigh too much or if you have to take up a second seat or whatever. All right? The airline is doing what everybody else in this country is doing, and that is trying to gouge the consumer the best they can. And you know what's sad? Our government does nothing about it. Okay? I know there are some senators and Congress people out there that are trying to do something about the airline travel industry. But I don't think they've succeeded. They have to do a better job with handicapped people with TSA. Okay? And what really pisses me off is the fact that they don't have better quality equipment to handle handicapped people. All right? Which is sad. All right, but let's get back to what I was talking about in my series about laziness, the job market. Last week I spoke about the employers. I spoke about the medical field. I spoke about how, pharmacists are leaving the job. So last week I was talking to my friend on the phone, and he said he went to the Walgreens over in East Liberty on Center Avenue. And listen to this. There was no pharmacist there to fill his medication. No pharmacist. Now, Walgreens, in their infinite wisdom, decided during COVID that they were not going to pay for high, I guess what you call pharmacists and pay them well. So they were using interns. They're using people from the schools, things like that. I dissolved my account with Walgreens because of it. Okay? When I first started going to Walgreens, because I used to live out there in the East at one time, and I would go to Walgreens all the time. So Sundays I would go on my way home from church, pick up my medication, because I now live in the South Hills, and my church is out east. Okay? So what has happened is that pharmacists are quitting. They're either not getting paid enough, and I heard this from a couple experts, and I spoke to some on the phone, talked to some, because they wouldn't come on the program here, all right? And they told me. They came straight out and told me. People are ignorant. People think because they got all that money from COVID that they're entitled to everything. They're screaming, hollering, cussing, demanding. That's why you can't get jobs. That's one reason. Number two reason is the way the employers are treating these employees. Okay? That is another reason why. I was down in my Dollar General store today. All right? Lady there says, I'm quitting. I said, how come? She said she's tired of the BS there. And she's going to be making $17 an hour at the job she's going to. You know what I told her? Watch it, because sometimes the grass isn't always greener on the other side. I know another guy who works security in my building, works for the company. He went to another job. He was making $14 an hour or whatever it was, working down on the south side, 2 blocks from his house. He didn't have to drive. He could walk. Told me he quit that job because he was promised no weekends and they gave him weekends. Okay? So here is employers lying to people to get them to work there. Now they might advertise that, oh, this job pays $15 an hour, but what they fail to tell you is, and I know this is a fact, I know a guy, he was working at a job down on the south side, and he said that he went, the job was advertised $15 an hour. He worked 2 hours a day. He told the guy, he says, I can't afford to work for you for 2 hours a day. It's not going to work for me. The guy said, if you don't like it, quit. So he did. Okay? Be careful. We're out there, folks, excuse me. All right? Because the way I see it, it's not what it's all cut out to be. And you know what's interesting? In one small perspective, I'm glad that I'm where I am right now, because if I had to go out there and work, I probably wouldn't survive from what I'm hearing has been going on. And it's everywhere. It's not just here. It's in Sugar Creek, Ohio. It's in Wheeling, West Virginia. Okay? It's in Ocean City, Maryland. It's in Raleigh, North Carolina. It's everywhere, all my second cities. Erie, Grove City. Places I've been, they all tell me the same story every time. Okay? And now the hotels are in real bad shape. Them and the restaurants. Hotels and restaurants are having issues hiring people. People don't want to work as servers or bartenders because the people are treating them nasty. Everybody's angry. I'm not angry at all. Then everybody says, well, maybe you don't have my situation. Let me tell you something. I probably have. But see, there's a difference between most people and myself. I don't let it bother me. All right? I let God handle it. Maybe that's what some of you should do. Because there's too many angry people out here. I see it all the time. Nobody wants to do anything for anybody. Nobody cares. That's what my new theme is for next year. Nobody cares. Because nobody does. Nobody cares at all about anything. If they did, things would get done in this country. We wouldn't be having these conversations here on the way I see it. Okay? And I was a victim of this shortage at the hotels. They can't hire people. And now they're up in the ante. They're paying housekeepers now $12 to $15 an hour just to get them in the door. Now that doesn't mean that's exactly what's going to happen. They failed to tell you, but you got to earn that $12 to $15 an hour. You might be on probation for 6 months. Okay? Trust me when I tell you, you got to be careful out there because I don't want you to get burned. Because I got burned. And not only did I get burned, I got sort of ridiculed a little bit by some people because I said everybody in society today is lazy. Not everybody, but there's a lot out there that are. And I'm like, why are all these jobs sitting here? What's going on with these people? As part of my series, I found out that there's people still at home. They don't trust going out. They're still staying at home. They order Instacart to deliver their groceries. Their car is growing weeds around it. They don't drive it. They're scared. They're scared. All right? They're really scared. That's a shame. That's too bad that you're scared. I'm not. I've been going out since COVID started. Wear my mask. Take my COVID test. Yeah. I'm not scared. Why should you? You shouldn't be scared. But you are. Everybody is in this country anymore. Why do you think the economy's where it's at? Because everybody's scared. Instead of everybody going out and working, and every employer, which would be a perfect world now if the employers and employees would learn how to get along. Okay? Let me give you an example. How about that shooting at the Taco Bell on Cochran Road? The boss there, the manager, got into a fight with the employee over something because he wasn't making something proper. Then they took it outside, and the guy got shot that was the worker there by the boss. And the boss, because Taco Bell's so desperate for people that the boss had a ton of criminal activity on his record. The Dollar General here in my neighborhood can't hire people because Dollar General now has the same company that Walmart uses to do background checks and drug testing. And I worked for a security company that their determination was from a company somewhere in California. It was like they're like a legal department or a legal secretary or private investigation company or something that does background checks for people all across the country. And I know some private investigators, my friends in Philly, Marianne Costello, Sal Tarantella had on, and Mark Mancini had on their show Liberty Bell Smack, a private investigator, and I asked him, what was the number one thing private investigators do now compared to what they did back in the day? And he told me background checks. Okay? So they have a private investigation firm that does this. And it's the same firm that does Walmart Dollar General uses. And they can't get help because these people can't pass background checks. Everybody is too busy. Port authorities have the same problem. They're a federal agency. They're having trouble hiring bus drivers. And that was a classic example of what I said, nobody wants to work. Well, people are applying, but they're not passing the background check, the drug test. They don't want to work weekends. They don't want to work holidays. They don't want to work a certain holiday because of Cousin Mabel or whatever. You understand what I'm saying? All right, so here we are, Port Authority of all people, Pittsburgh Regional Transit, of all people, that you couldn't get a job back when I worked for them. They're looking for people. Okay? And the police departments, including the city of Pittsburgh and several others all across the country, can't get policemen because we got them under a microscope and we tie their hands. We don't let them do their job. They look at somebody wrong and they want to sue them. They look at somebody wrong and they go, oh, he looked at me the wrong way because I'm gay. Okay? Let the policemen do their job. And I'm not telling, and please do not misquote me, and do not twist the facts around. The fact is, I don't have a problem with good policemen. I have a problem with those who make the job bad. And they're like that everywhere. So tonight, the way I see it is, my series on the job market, the labor industry and whatnot, the hotels are having trouble finding people. So when you go on your trip, whether it's wherever it is, don't expect room service. You won't get it. Don't expect to have housekeeping clean your room every day. You won't get it. You have to call down to the front desk and get your towels. They don't even give you stationery and pens anymore. All right? They're barely lucky they give you anything. That's where we are with hotels now. My suggestion to you, try to find one of these services like Expedia or Priceline or something and try to get the best rate you can find. Because if you don't, you're not going to. Same thing with airline flying. All right? All right, we got a lot to talk about tonight, and that's the way I see it on all that. City says they're going to have the streets cleared within 24 hours. Interesting. Ed Gainey has said, and he says a lot, okay? Once again, me and Ed Gainey are the best of friends. Right now, Ed Gainey is going to be coming up on 1 year as mayor. You think he's done a good job? I found out tonight that the business sector is struggling in this town. That's why Arco pulled out. That's why a lot of tech firms and companies are pulling away. Because you can't get young people to work in this city, to come from colleges, that we have great universities here, to stay here and work. Well, when people hear on the news that somebody in downtown Pittsburgh, where they're living, got shot, and downtown was so riddled with tents and homeless people and derelicts and bums and the criminal mind, okay? Busy weekends this entire year that we had downtown, and people that came in from out of town said it was a disgrace. People defecating out on the streets. People bumming money, trying to bum money off of people, then if you don't give it to them, they get ignorant with you. Is that the way you want your downtown to be? Well, if the city would have done what they promised, which they don't. City council was weak. City council doesn't care. They're weak. All right? I like a few of them. Coghill's a good councilman. He's all over about that, about the salt trucks, because our neighborhoods have struggled over in the South Hills here because of that. It's sad but true. So the city says this year, Ed Gainey promises that this year they'll have all the streets clear within a 24-hour time frame. For the South Hills, because we don't have our headquarters for the trucks, which Councilman Coghill was on the news talking about it last week, about how they have this mine subsidence or this little mine thing going on under Bousman Street, and they can't dig and they can't build and they can't, because they got to get rid of that. Okay? So here we are. Once again, South Hills is going to get neglected. And it happened just recently. We had a couple bad warnings. Accidents everywhere because the city was nowhere to be found with their salt trucks. Ed Gainey, you promised. You said, I'm going to clear the streets within 24 hours, I promise you. And the first day you need to get out and clear the streets away, you failed. And you know what's funny? I probably have blasted. The two entities the most that I've blasted on this program have been the Pittsburgh City Council and the Pittsburgh School Board. And I'm going to have to continue to do it because they keep making stupid decisions. And the nice thing about this is, guess who might run for school board? Me. Because the guy that represents my area is stepping down after his term is over. So there's going to be an election for his term, for his seat. Okay? I'm running for school board because I want to make a difference. I'm tired of the school district that I went to school in that was strong back when I was growing up is now weak. But what I don't understand is how it's still the largest school district in Western Pennsylvania. That I don't get. But it still is. It still is. They only field 6 high school teams for football. And that's the Pittsburgh City League. And congratulations to Westinghouse. They blew out Central Clarion on Saturday, 45-8 or something to that effect. Good for them. I'm happy for them. We'll talk about that tomorrow night. Sports Corner, 8:30 p.m. every single Tuesday night, right here on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. My special guest, Joe Kuglis, draft expert and Pittsburgh Steeler reporter as well. He has his own website and he reports about the Steelers. We're going to talk about this debacle that happened last night or yesterday. All right, and more. Tomorrow night, 8:30, myself, Smoking Jim Frazier, right here live, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. Don't forget tonight at 8 o'clock. You can watch this and watch it on TV if you know what you're doing. If we still go past 8 o'clock, 8 o'clock, Channel 21 Comcast, 47 Verizon Cable, PCTV, Channel 21. Comcast, 47 Verizon Cable. The way I see it, TV version. Yes, 8 o'clock p.m. tonight. It's the way I see it about the 24 hours for the city salt trucks. All right. Local 85, Amalgamated Transit Union just passed ratified a contract with the Pittsburgh Regional Transit. And what I'm wondering is, I talked to a few employees that I'm close to, being I'm the president of the Allegheny County Transit Council, and I spoke to some employees. One told me it was okay, and I met a guy on Saturday who was an employee, and he said, here and there. I'm getting mixed reviews about it. And that always happens with contracts. Okay? But I heard there was some changes, some work rules based on COVID. I heard there was a nice pay raise, which is great. That's good. They deserve it. Okay? I don't know the other logistics of it. I'm working on trying to get Ross Nicotero either on this program or on my Ralph Williams one-on-one to talk about it. And don't forget about that show as well. That is a sporadic show. It's an interview show I do. I do it on the guest time when they are available because I'm having issues trying to get people on here on Monday nights. So rather than, I came up with Ralph Williams one-on-one where I do a one-on-one interview with somebody. And check it out on my YouTube channel. And don't forget to subscribe. We're almost at number 50 of subscribers, and I appreciate those who have. One more subscriber and I'm at number 50. That is great because I've had the channel up for over a year. 50 people. And looking to do more. Because you know why? I'm Pittsburgh's forgotten son and you know it. And I'm better than most of these people on the radio and you know it. You know what's funny? I hope and pray I become famous nationally. And I get picked up on the national standpoint. Because then I could tell these Pittsburgh stations who didn't want me where to go. That is the way I see it tonight. Next, the Post-Gazette strike. You know, that's getting kind of out of control. The union workers and protesters that are in favor of the union, which I am as well. I was in 5 unions in my time. Okay? I don't have a problem with them because I think Post-Gazette's doing them wrong. But, you know, Post-Gazette's going to defend themselves. They're going to say, yeah, we did this, we did that, we offered you this, we offered you that. Okay? So what happened is that these protesters and striking people decided to go down and be a wedding crasher, sort of. They decided to go down to the 2K Club on 6th Avenue, and they decided to go out in the front and obstruct the throughway of the owner of the Post-Gazette's wedding. I think that's pretty funny because I've never seen anything like that before. I think that's hilarious. But you know what? That's what the Block family gets for playing games. And you know, as I mentioned earlier in my blast segment, the union revolution is starting to come back because people have had enough. Okay? But what I want to know is, where was this at before? You know, when Ronald Reagan dissolved all the unions after he fired all of the airline traffic controllers, and I remember when that happened. Okay? He fired them. And ever since then, the union revolution has gone down the toilet pretty much. Pretty much. But now it's getting stronger and stronger. Why? Because there's a lot of options out here, and there's a lot of things that people can do. And you know what? Coffee Tree Roadster has decided to unionize, which is a great thing. Okay, in town here. But then it took them a year to negotiate the contract. That's how they got back at the union workers. I know a guy who was trying to get a union started at UPMC and it got dissolved. But here's the problem here. Starbucks is under scrutiny now because they won't unionize their employees and won't let them do it. And a supervisor who worked at the location in Bloomfield got fired because he tried to start a union up. And I'm telling you, this is getting ugly with Starbucks and their employees. Because what's happening is you have supervisors. I'm talking company people who are supposed to be working for the company as supervisors out there with their employees because the company treats them like garbage. And I'm glad people are stepping up and starting unions. I'm glad. Because it needs to happen. The union revolution needs to come back. And it is. It's coming back. And I'm happy for it. Okay? So all you employers out there that don't want to pay, all you employers out there that want to lie to people, all you employers out there that want to play games with your employees, there's jobs everywhere. And now, by you doing this, instead of working with everybody, and instead of our country coming together like we did for 9/11, and this is the thing that puzzles me the most. None of us came together for this when COVID hit. No, instead we had a governor who decided to act like a dictator. He let Rachel Levine do whatever she wanted, and I've said this many times. Josh Shapiro, and this is a fact, went ahead and sued businesses for violating COVID rules. He didn't care about their livelihood. And I told you I would have voted for Doug Mastriano if he had not been involved with Donald Trump on January 6th. Okay? All right? I would have voted for him. because I didn't like what Shapiro did, sticking up with Wolf. Instead of saying to Wolf, hey, look, you can't do this. You got to let these businesses open up. Instead, he sued because they violated COVID rules. So I just want to let you know that about your new governor. So if we have to go through another lockdown again, God help this state again. All right? I blame Trump for this because he went ahead and said, let's open up our country. Oh, I was fabulous about that. But I'm going to let the states do what they want. Why do we have federal laws? Why? Don't even make a federal law. Because when you make a federal law, you make the states do whatever they want. Let me give you an example. Social Security disability folks are getting and the elderly people, the SSIs, the Social Security disability, every year they get a raise. Obama put that in place, a COLA raise. Nobody can touch this. It's forever, okay? Now, let's say, for instance, I know some people who are on Social Security disability, and every time my mom included gets a COLA raise, her food stamps get cut. So why can't we have a federal law and everybody has to follow it? Where I don't care what state you live in, your welfare or your food stamps cannot be taken away. Your Medicaid can't be taken away because you make too much money. Now here it is, the government giveth, but then the government taketh away. Oh, well, that's what goes on in that state. No! If we're going to make federal laws, make it go federal. Make it go for every state in the country. Don't continue to make federal laws, but then let states do whatever they want. If you're going to have federal labor laws, everybody has to follow them. Not Pennsylvania has their own standards, and North Carolina or Texas or any of these other, or Alaska, or anybody has their own standards. No, everybody has to follow them, including the people in Hawaii and Puerto Rico and all them other places. Do you understand what I'm saying? Next, the railroad strike. That's the way I see it tonight. The railroad strike, too. They've negotiated all the railroads, but now they're waiting for the employees to vote on it. Can you imagine in this state, in this country, if the railroad industry was to shut down? We're having, supposedly now, here, everyone, we are having supply chain problems. Yeah. Okay. And I got swampland in Florida with alligators in it for sale. You want to buy it? There you go. All right, that's the way I see it tonight on that. All right, MK Realty. Now, I just got word on this tonight. And I want everybody out there to listen up that's watching this program tonight. Call your friend, call your cousin, call somebody, get them here on this program. Get them to watch my show. Get them to watch the archive version on my YouTube channel. Because I'm going to tell you something right now. There's a scam going on out there by this company. And they're hitting local people here in town and across the country. They're calling you up and asking you to sign a 40-year lease, okay, or a 40-year contract that says they'll give you cash if you sign some papers, I guess it is, okay, that says that you will not sell your house even on your own, for 40 years, okay? But if you do sell your house, they have to sell it. Some people got $400, others got $200, some got $391, okay? It's a scam, and they got caught. And I want to let you know tonight, I just found this out not right before the show. So I really didn't get a chance to prepare for the last part of it. But MK Realty you ought to be ashamed of yourself. All right, it's a scam. Don't accept it. And the one lady said she did it because she needed the money. I understand that. I need money too. But I watch myself. Watch yourself for scams. Here, I got another good one for you. PNC Bank and Citizens now. There are scammers out there. They're texting people, and they're telling what they're doing is they're telling people, they're texting them, and they're telling them that, you owe fees on this on your account, or there's some problems with your account. I don't have an account with Citizens. I don't have an account with PNC. Okay? So I know it's a scam. All right? But if you want, call Citizens, call PNC, and see if someone's using your name. Because that's been going on. Okay? Scammers are out there, everybody. And I don't want to see you get burned. I don't want to see you on the news. I don't want to see you on TV going, oh, they took my money. I've said this many times. Get your head out of the sand. Use some common sense. And quit messing around on a cell phone and playing around. And quit smoking pot and stop drinking too much. Because everybody's brains are deteriorating. Nobody's thinking anymore. Like during the holidays. Oh, here we go. This is the best one of them all, everyone. Oh, I put the Christmas gifts in the trunk of my car, and I didn't think they were going to steal it. I live in Cranberry. I live in Butler. I live in some beautiful neighborhood way out east of Egypt somewhere in Pennsylvania, and there are never any thefts out here. Well, let me tell you something. If the thieves can't get them anywhere else, they're going to go to your neighborhood and get it. And when you leave your car open, and you leave your computer and your cell phone, your GPS, if they even make them anymore, or whatever, okay? You leave whatever's valuable that costs a lot of money in your car and you leave it unlocked, that's on you. So please, don't flood my TV or flood anyone else's TV, or I don't want to hear no more sob stories about how you got stuff stolen because you didn't lock your car. And it'll happen this year because thieves are everywhere. They'll go out to these rich neighborhoods that are, supposedly rich, and they'll go looking around for people that leave stupid things in their car. And some people who do drive drunk or intoxicated a little bit or smoke some kind of pot, all right, their brain isn't there, so they leave their car unlocked. And what happens? Here we are. Okay? Here we are. All the $2,000 you spent in Christmas gifts because little Johnny needs a $6,000 computer or whatever, and little Roddy couldn't get what he wanted. Okay? Excuse me, my sinuses are acting up a little bit tonight. But anyway, all right, here we are. And every holiday it happens. And the scammers are out there too. There's people out there that would rather screw somebody and take their money than go out and get a job. Yeah. But sucks to be you if you get caught. That's the way I see it tonight. Next, West Mifflin School District. Okay, if I'm a parent that there's some videos circulating out on social media of a fight in the gym at West Mifflin High School on off hours, like when school's not in session. They were having some kind of wrestling matches or whatever. Now, the story that I got when I looked into this was that they had this on a special day, and the kid that had the key to get into the school, like on a Saturday when you're really not supposed to be there or whatever, I don't know what goes on, okay? Well, the school was locked up apparently or something, and he had a key to get in at off hours. And we're playing a basketball game. He's the son of the athletic director. So the parents go to the superintendent, and they said to the superintendent, why am I seeing this on social media? What's going on? You know what the superintendent said? Nobody got hurt. I can't do nothing about it. Really? If I'm a parent and I'm paying taxes in the West Mifflin School District, I'm on the phone tomorrow to the superintendent, and I'm telling him to step down. I'm on the phone to the school board, and I want him fired. I want the superintendent fired. Gone. Why? Because why would you even give an answer like that? What, you like your athletic director so much that you don't want to fire him for dereliction of duty? Give his son the key and then get in there and kids could have got hurt? Oh, well, they didn't get hurt, so, we're not going to do nothing. That doesn't warrant me to take action. Really? Is this the way the parents in West Mifflin? I don't know what water you're drinking. I don't know what air you're sniffing. Because they say there's bad sulfur air out in the Mon Valley. But you better do something. If you are a parent or a taxpayer that lives in the West Mifflin School District and you pay taxes and your kid goes to school there, my suggestion to you is to go and do a revolt. Keep your kid home from school for a day and tell the school district, look, fire this guy. Because just that comment alone would piss me off if I'm a parent or a taxpayer in West Mifflin. That right there warrants firing in my eyes. It's not going to happen, but I'm saying that's the way I see it. All right. We're going to go over some small topics here real quick. Disney has hired back their new CEO. They hired back former CEO. They brought him back named Bob Iger. So all of you guys and like Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck and whoever, there you are. That's the way I see it tonight. Next, light up night safe and no major arrests. Wow. Whoa. I find that as a miracle, don't you? No wonder winter's already here. All right. That's the way I see it. Pilot program starting for low-income bus riders on PRT. Yeah, they're having a pilot program where they're going to test low-income riders, half-price riders, and they're going to test. They're going to look into regular paying customers. Because PPT, Pittsburghers for Public Transit, and I had Laura Weens, the president, on here of the Pittsburghers for Public Transit, and her and I, being that I'm the president of the Allegheny County Transit Council, at times we'll have to work together on something when it involves something that we need to work together on. We're two separate entities, but there's times when we have to work together. Okay? So, I had her on here. She talked about free fares for everybody. And there are cities in this country where you can ride for free. And low-income people ride for free. Why can't it be done here? Well, they're coming up with a pilot program that's going to last for about a year, I think, and that's going to work out, and we're going to find out what's going to happen, and if it's even feasible. That's the way I see it tonight. Next, homeless shelter. Finally, wow, finally, I have to do this tonight. I have to applaud the city. Finally opened up the 2nd Avenue Commons. It's finally open for the homeless, so we can get these tent camps out of here. It took all this time for somebody to do something. Because I heard that Billy Peduto was too busy drinking at Cappy's Bar on Walnut Street in Shadyside instead of worrying about his city. That's the way I see it tonight. Next. North and South Park ice skating rinks open for business. Never was an ice skater, never will be. But it's good for you to know that they're open. So if you want to take little Johnny, little Ronnie, little Susie, or little Harriet or whatever to the my niece, she goes ice skating all the time out of South Park with some friends. So there you are. Both rinks are open. Enjoy. That's the way I see it tonight. Next, Buffalo, New York, 6 feet of snow. And my second city, Erie's getting pounded as well. I don't go to Erie in the wintertime. I would love to live up in Erie. It's a nice place. It gets a bad rap all the time. There's some things that probably could be fixed up there. Like I told their airport director that he needs to get more flights in there. Why don't he reach out to these discount airlines? He has done nothing. They have the same flights going in and out of there all the time. So, but anyway, Erie, I hear, is a nice. I've been there twice in the summertime, and they tell me it's beautiful, and it's great. It's beautiful there. I love Erie. The smell of the lake, and it's beautiful. All right, and the scenery is so nice. And, Presque Isle State Park is beautiful there. Didn't win nothing at the casino. All right. But it's a donation every time you go to one anyway. But in the meantime, they can't give the public transit. Nah. They make $681. Rivers Casino last quarter made $681 million. That's a conversation for another time, and that's the way I see it tonight. Breeze Airways adding flights to New Orleans and Hartford from Pittsburgh. That's great. It's always great when they're adding more flights at Pittsburgh International. You do know there was an accident there during the construction site where they're building the new terminal. As you know, they're what they call downsizing the terminal. I wouldn't say downsizing. They're fixing it, rearranging it, making it better. I don't like the idea to take that train all the way over there. And then it was like you had to walk 200 miles to get to your gate sometimes. Okay? And it's hard, and it's probably harder now than it was even then to get escort to come and pick you up. Thank goodness when I traveled, it was before COVID. And that's the way I see it. Next, Kiss guitarist Gene Simmons hospitalized for kidney stones. Wow. 73-year-old man, guy. Sad to hear, but you know what? He's good. He's in good shape and good spirits. Shannon Tweed, his wife and model, said that things were going well for Gene Simmons, and I pray for him because him and Paul Stanley both had some health problems over the years. They're not into drugs like Peter Criss and Ace Frehley. Okay, they weren't really into drugs that much. Okay, and they're still alive and still living in the 70s, and it's great. I'm glad to hear that they're still going. They had their final tour this year. And speaking of final tours, Foreigner is having their final tour next year. They're going to be taking up shop down at the Venetian down in Vegas. Mick Jones, 77 years old, the lead guitarist for Foreigner. Wow. And that's something. Chicago's going to be doing that real soon, too, I'm told. I read a couple articles, and that Chicago is looking to do that. A lot of their guys are up in the 70s, 80s. They've been away from your family all the time. I mean, it's a mess. It's good money, but you don't see your family. Like Kelly Hansen, the current lead singer from Foreigner. Lou Graham left Foreigner years ago, and Kelly Hansen's the lead singer. He's been their lead singer since 2004, I think, or 2 or something. Yeah, and he said, "I'm married. I got a family now, and I don't want to be away from them anymore." He says, "I want to be able to travel with them and take time. I mean, it's grueling doing that kind of business. Look at Journey; they're still going. Look at some of these bands; they're back in business, back going. I think some of the ones that are going now that you see have resurfaced that had #1 hit songs all these years, years and years ago, and they lived off the royalties. I think the royalties are running out, and guess what? They're coming back out on the road because the royalties ran out. Yeah, there's a lot of them doing that now. So this has been The Way I See It with me, Ralph Williams. We're here every Monday night, 7 p.m. here on Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube. So what I want to say is that tomorrow night at 8:30, some announcements here for you of some of my other shows going on. You can catch all my archive versions of all my shows on my YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe, make number 50. All right, because we're at 49 right now. We were supposed to have Wrestle Talk Wednesday night at 6 p.m., to replace the date for Thursday because of Thanksgiving. But due to a scheduling conflict with my producer down in L.A., Mark Mancini, for the show, we are not having it this week. But what we will be doing is, if you are a loyal listener to the show, Wrestle Talk, live on Blog Talk Radio every Thursday night, 8 p.m., 347-205-9631 is the number to call to get involved, to listen to the show. We talk wrestling and a little bit of sports. We're going to be on for an hour instead of 45 minutes for 3 weeks to make up for the time that we didn't do this week. All right? And I'll get back to you tomorrow night on Sports Corner. I'm waiting to hear back from Smoking Jim. Find out if we're going to do our wrestling show on Wednesday, our regular show, Talking Wrestling. We were not going to do it because of this Wrestle Talk, but we may decide to do it because of, I have to see what his schedule is because of this rearrangement in schedule. So, and don't forget Saturday nights at 5 p.m. on PCTV Channel 21 Comcast 47 Verizon Cable, Sports Corner with myself and Smoking Jim Frazier. Also, don't forget tomorrow night 10:30 I'll be on with Peter Blake and Mark Mancini later on tomorrow night on the evolution of sports to sports web with Peter Blake and the segment called Turnbuckle Talk, where we talk professional wrestling. I believe we're going to be on tomorrow night. Don't quote me on that. I'm not sure. I will give you a definite answer. Check in with me on my Facebook and Twitter pages, okay? All right, this has been Ralph Williams for The Way I See It. Everybody have a good night. Be safe. Have a safe holiday season. If you're traveling, please be careful and be safe, all right? Thank you. Be safe. Have a good one. Thanks for watching.